People are talking about Song Daeun exposing Jimin and what that is about. We also need to get into people talking about Jimin apparently kissing and leaving a van in a bedroom, as well as backlash over something that JK and Jin recently did. So This is Dave Decide. Let's get into it. People have been freaking out over a black credit card situation. I think this is so funny. So if you're not aware, Jin has a reality show, Run Jin, and this is absolutely hilarious show, as the show is kind of seeing him running around doing random things, and it's extremely fun to see his personality. Well, he was in a school cafeteria and he wanted to pay for some of his snacks, and he pulled out his card. Basically, he was like, I'm rich, I'll pay for my snacks. And it seemed like the school wasn't able to accept this card. Now, there are several types of black cards that exist in the world. However, the specific black card that he has could be one of two different types of cards. One could be the card that we use here in America, which is probably the least likely one, which is the Amex card. And this is a black card that's invitation only. And I think that you have to spend like $250,000 to $500,000 per year in order to qualify or even get invited to apply for this card. So it's like a major CEOs or a company owner that would have to pay for everything out of pocket, like things like office supplies, their employees, and all of that stuff. And then they're usually spending more than that. So the card is then given to those people, and then they get an invite in the mail. The way you get an invite is obviously like if you're with American Express already, or if you're with a company that just uses American Express and you're always maxing out the cards, they'll be able to track your bank transactions, and they're just seeing that you're spending a lot more. They will usually just mail you that card. Now, for someone in Korea, obviously you would not have this particular service. American Express, I don't think exists in Korea, but there is a black card that I believe is from MasterCard. Only the top 0.05% of Koreans have this card. Now, I don't know if it's the top 1% and then 0.05 of that, or if it's just 0.05 of the general population. But either way, it's very few people that even have access to this card. This card is called the Korean Black Card or the Hyundai card. This one I think is a little bit better, as I feel like this is not just CEOs and founders that could have access to this card, as people who have a net worth of 16 million or people who spend $120,000 per year are able to get this card. So you can get this card if you're like a realtor or a lawyer, or if you're someone who has a high-paying engineer job and just spends a lot of their money like this would still qualify you. Spending around $8,000, maybe a little bit more than $8,000 a month is not unheard of for someone of these more high-end people, right? So that just feels like a lot more possible than potentially spending like $30,000 to $40,000 a month. So likely Jin has that card, and obviously that card makes the most sense for him, as I wouldn't see that he would need to spend more than $120,000 really in a given year, given that the company would pay for any travel or any needing of staffing for specific events and that sort of stuff anyway. Now, JK was also seen allegedly with this black card, and just to clarify, we don't actually even know 100% if Jin has this card. People are just assuming because he said he's rich and then he pulled out a black card. But JK was using this on a vending machine, which people thought was very funny. Now, there wasn't as much backlash that I saw that came from this particular incident, but I was very shocked that not too long ago I was reading comments of people saying that they were upset that the BTS boys are rich. And I thought this was very interesting. I made a video not too long ago talking about some of the expensive award show clothes that they wear, and some of them being like a couple $1,000s and that sort of stuff. I remember seeing a lot of the comments with people saying, oh, I'm really disappointed at that. And I think that that's so weird. And that's such strange behavior that I've never seen in any type of fandom or any group of people in general. Because being envious or jealous, that's one thing. Well, while not a great thing, but something that I can very much understand. Being disappointed is implying that you already knew this person and now you're disappointed. It's because they did something bad. First off, we don't know them. We don't know what they're actually like, what they value, what they actually do in their spare time. So there's nothing to be disappointed about, because we can't be disappointed in a stranger. And second of all, being rich is nothing to be disappointed in. People are disappointed in them being successful and then using the money that they made from being successful in buying clothes. You know who would be disappointed if the BTS members were not successful? Their parents. Probably just like every other Asian parent. Also, just a side note, most of the time when celebrities go to award shows, they're not buying their own clothes. It's gifted to them or it's borrowed. But there's a lot of people who are very upset over random things, and I think it's very interesting what they'll derive from specific things, and they will kind of twist it to fit their own narrative or whatever they want to fit. Song Daeun is someone who a lot of people thought for a really long time for dating Jimin. She posted a bunch of things like the name Jimin, wearing similar clothes, and even people were piecing together moments of, like, I think birthdays and photos where they could be in the same place or whatever. I thought it was really funny. Obviously, in my opinion, there's no merit to any of these claims. But recently, people have been taking what she said as fact and then used it as a way to disprove other things, which I think is interesting. So some people are going into the shipping community and saying that Song has specifically debunked all of the gay rumors surrounding Jimin. So why are people then shipping Jimin and JK still together? Now, if you watch any of my other videos, you'd probably know that I don't particularly believe the two members are together. I just don't know if I do. There's no concrete evidence as of yet, but in the same vein of that, there's no concrete evidence that Jimin and Song are in a relationship together. So to assume that they are is pretty much the same as the whole shipping thing to begin with. Song has addressed a lot of the craziness that has surrounded this a long time ago, saying that she would never purposely try to get into a fandom in this way or get the attention of a fandom in this way because she knows how scary the community can be. And I think it's interesting because after this, she has a lot of hate, and I'm pretty sure she's aware she would have gotten a lot of hate. So no, I don't believe that that specific rumor of Jimin and Song potentially together is proof that Jimin and another man may or may not be dating. And I don't necessarily think it's good to make that assumption because then you're debunking one rumor to incite another rumor. Of course, there's always going to be hate and awful things going around, but if you do want to check out on Patreon a bunch of reaction videos with me where I react to fun and cute moments of the boys and other groups as well, then make sure you do that. I will leave a link at the top of the description. You can also request videos that you would like me to react to, and we can fangirl together over that. There's a $1.95 tier that will have access to all of these videos on there, so no matter how many videos you want to see, you'll be able to see it because there are literally thousands, and it will take you probably a year to get through all of them. So make sure you check it out. Link is at the top of the description. There's already so many rumors going around, and I mean, there was this moment in which we see Jimin coming out of a bedroom in the reality show, Are You Sure? And he's wiping his lips. And then we see another moment in which he's coming out of a van doing the same thing. And people are wondering why he's doing this, if this is because he's kissing someone. And then he's wiping his lips and blah, blah, blah. First of all, in any of these clips, we don't see JK doing the same thing. So if they're both sleeping with each other, kissing or whatever, then we would see them both wiping their lips. We also have to understand that if this is true, the label knew about it. They would definitely not keep those clips in for the show. So it might appear in paparazzi moments or whatever, but it definitely would not be in the show. One thing we're not seeing behind the scenes is probably Jimin drinking a lot of water, Jimin brushing his teeth and then wiping his mouth. There's so many reasons as to why someone would come out of a room or a van wiping their mouth. And so I don't really know what to call this because the assumptions to me lean so sexual, and I think that's so odd to just automatically assume. Life isn't supposed to be super sexual, and I know there are a lot of things that are sexual, and a lot of people argue and say that our reason for existence is to procreate, and I definitely disagree. Going by that logic, then our life revolves around sex. I understand that. In a lot of cultures, you're not a man until you get married, and since you can't have sex before marriage in almost all religious or cultural beliefs, which just essentially means until you have sex. However, life is so much more than that, and especially when you're a celebrity, and sex is probably something that's not even on the top list of things that they would care about, then it would not be something that they would be doing most of the time. Knowing that there's cameras everywhere in the reality show, it would almost be bad and irresponsible for them to do something like that. Something so raunchy and potentially even taboo in their country, and have one of those cameras pick it up. Have the editor have to go through that. Have the team then find out and be like, wait, what is this? Of course, speaking of that, we are constantly bombarded with people saying that the label staff likes to leak things, likes to leak their address or leak personal information of the boys. How come we haven't seen any leaks of any real definitive proof of the two boys kissing each other or doing anything romantic? That would have definitely come out at this point, I think. And people like to say, well, they probably wouldn't do that in fear of legal action or whatever. But having a staff member leak the boy's address or leak something very sensitive like that would not get them thrown in jail or sued. Like, I feel like that's much worse. Because if someone did leak footage of the two boys kissing or whatever, they can argue that they had nothing to do with it, that someone else grabbed the footage that they had or whatever. But trying to argue and say that the address or whatever leaked is a little bit different. I don't think many people have access to their address. I don't think it's as easy to argue it was hacked because these are just words. So you can kind of look through texts of the person who leaked it or whatever and see that it had been leaked. But photos and videos are touched by so many people before they get posted. So any of those people could leak it, just like how music gets leaked all the time. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Please just love the comments right here. Love you. Bye.